Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, please like, comment, and subscribe. And today I wanted to touch on a topic that I think has been mentioned for the last few years or so. And as you can see by the title, I'm going to be speaking about the BET Awards and a little bit about the BET Network. So last year's BET Awards were a disappointment, but it's not surprising. Now, disclaimer, I did not watch the BET Awards and I still haven't watched it to this day, and I have been out of the loop of many award shows since the mid 2010s. I usually just catch the highlights and the videos after the award show, as well as the commentary and reviews from people online. I honestly did not know the BET Awards were premiering until I heard people online do their reviews on YouTube and TikTok. People have coined the BET Awards last year as your local neighborhood block party or family reunion. Now, based on those videos and commentaries, I have a few opinions of my own. Now, don't get me wrong. I do not want to come on here and seem as if I'm bashing or negating anything that is centered or related to Black people or Black culture and writing it off as automatically bad. But with what I am seeing in recent years that has been pushed as the main face of Black people and Black culture, particularly in hip hop/rap, has been very disappointing and has led me to say this. First, let's start with the fashion. The fashion on the red carpet at the BET Awards, especially for the last few years, have been going downhill. There are a few gems in there though, and I understand not every single outfit will be a hit for everyone, but the fashion in the last 5 to 7, maybe even 10 years at almost every BET Awards has always looked cheap, run down, low quality, too casual for a red carpet event and an award show, and as if the people got their outfits from Fashion Nova and other fast fashion brands. What really upsets and confuses me is how we as a people will understand the assignment when it comes to award shows such as the Grammys, the Oscars, even the VMAs, Billboard, and AMAs, but when it comes to the award shows that should be centered or catered to us, it's as if we are so relaxed and unmotivated to put in any effort into ourselves and our platforms that we end up cheapening the quality of our own brands. Then we wonder why everyone else thinks less of us or they don't take us seriously. Granted, there is an almost inherent anti-Blackness that exists within other communities towards us, but there are times where we have given them that ammunition to think that way about us. This being one of those cases. Another criticism I have about the BET Awards is the people who were invited to attend and the people who were invited to perform. There definitely were some gems in there, such as Coco Jones and Doechii, who performed on stage, and this was Doechii's second time performing at the BET Awards. We had the celebration of the 50 years of hip hop and Busta Rhymes with his speech. Now, based on the reviews of the celebration of 50 years of hip hop, people said that it was lackluster. And it's funny how I saw more people compliment the Grammys for doing a better job at honoring the genre/culture of hip hop, even with the Migos tribute to Takeoff. The same Grammys that face criticism, even to this day, by hip hop/rap artists and fans of their unfair treatment or tone deaf behavior towards the artist and the genre. So much so that Jay-Z boycotted the Grammys one year. But the BET Awards, the platform that is supposed to be for us, supposed to be the biggest night in Black culture, drops the ball. Patti LaBelle's tribute to Tina Turner was also terrible. She forgot the words and she messed up the song. Now, don't get me wrong. I like Patti LaBelle. Stir It Up and On My Own are just two of the songs I like by her. But what I find funny and what I also find more disheartening is that you pay a tribute. You get one legend to pay a tribute to another legend and messes it up. And it's funny how Tina Turner definitely wasn't treated too well, especially by members of the Black community after she exposed Ike back in the day with her book and her movie, how she felt so much like she had lost her American, especially Black American fan base, that she had to move to Europe and receive much more support, praise, and, celebration in Europe. And honestly, my prediction, possibly, My prediction is that this year, the Grammys are probably going to do a better honoring of her life, even if there's no tribute and she's just going to be in the in memoriam service segment that they usually do. I think in some ways, just like the 50 years of hip hop, the Grammys are going to do a better job at it. And I hate to say that. Another issue I have is the people they invited to the award show. The ones that would be coined the D and F listers or the C listers that were either popular on social media as influencers, reality TV show stars / personalities, or they had a viral or semi-viral hit on social media. These people were acting a fool and a whole ratchet mess, and that is what people were talking about on social media. People have even coined the BET Awards the EBT Awards, and honestly, for the last few years, that title has been fitting. We had JT fighting Lil Uzi. That was a whole mess. We had Sexy Red and Krishan who were turning up and twerking, and the people around them were hyping them up while they were sitting close, if not right next to Bobby Jones from Bobby Jones Gospel. These people, including Natalie Nunn, were seated in the front or second row that would have mainly been occupied and reserved for mainly A-listers or at least B-listers and superstars. I have even heard some people coin last year's BET Awards show as the Source Awards due to the vulgarity, the ratchetness, the low vibrational behavior taking place, and just being a poor representation for Black music, Black culture, and Black people. I grew up watching BET in the 2000s with remnants of the 90s, and there was a time where I put BET as a network on a pedestal. I would think that getting a BET award was just as equivalent to getting a Grammy, especially if you had talent, a successful year, and you were pretty much an A or B list celebrity. Now, I don't see that winning a BET award or being nominated for one as a compliment or an accomplishment or beneficial to your career, especially if you want longevity or to go far and elevate. One commentary or even criticism I see in recent years by Black viewers and commentators has been that the lack of star power and star attendees at the BET Awards, and you can also include the Soul Train Awards in that too. Though I think the Soul Train Awards do it a little better. Honestly, if I were to ever get nominated for a Soul Train Award, especially if the Soul Train Award keeps up with just having good decorum and good talented music artists showing up, I would think that is just as much of a win as a Grammy. I definitely like the Soul Train Awards, and I think the Soul Train Awards are one of the few Black-centered and catered to award shows that do it right. A few years ago, the criticism would be how A-list or quote-unquote pop Black artists and celebrities would stop showing up to the BET Awards once they got to a certain level, and they would only show up to the awards like the Grammys, Oscars, etc. Even if they weren't nominated or they would get played in their faces by being nominated but would not win. This led some people saying that these celebrities or A-listers stopped showing up to support Black spaces, the same ones that gave them a platform, because they felt like, quote unquote, the white man's ice is colder when they got to a certain level in their careers and were no longer, quote unquote, Black famous. Though there is some truth to this from what I am seeing in the last decade with not only the BET Awards, but the BET network as a whole, and how it has also done things or hasn't done things that have contributed to its downfall. Remember when Karrueche Tran said those things on the network about Blue Ivy? Why would Beyonce show up? The last time she showed up was in 2016 to perform her song Freedom with Kendrick Lamar, and I liked that performance. The last good BET Awards, in my opinion, that I saw was in 2017 when New Edition was being honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award, and their 3-part biopic premiered earlier that same year. Another thing I see contributing to the decline of the BET Awards, and no shade, no hate, but it is the lack of actual and full Black and dark skin representation, especially in the realm of rap and hip hop. The last few years have felt more like the Biracial Entertainment TV Awards than the Black Entertainment TV Awards. This year's rap nominations, outside of Nicki and Megan Thee Stallion, everyone was either mixed, light-skinned, and not to say all of them were completely talentless, but most of the girls that were on the list were either surviving off of virality or one-hit wonders, or don't really have an identifiable fan base, in my opinion. I also do think the BET Awards gave Lotto the award because they were playing in Nicki's face, because Nicki hasn't shown up to the BET Awards since they made those comments about her in 2019, or the intern did at the time. I often see Black people complaining about Academy Awards such as the Grammys and the Oscars doing Black entertainers dirty, whether it be snubbing them for nominations or nominating them but not giving them any awards, especially if they have achieved critical and or commercial success that year, or they are tone deaf to what they give Black entertainers awards or nominations for. And there is definitely some, if not a lot of truth in these criticisms. However, I have not seen the BET Awards fully prove that it is worthy of being a better alternative to these award shows, and last year further proved that. Although these Academy Awards have done things that, on the outside looking in, make them deserving of the criticism that they get, I do see them doing something slightly better than the BET Awards. One critique that I particularly give the BET Awards is its lack of diversity, especially when it comes to Black artists. Now, you're probably thinking, what are you talking about? Here's what I mean. I have seen Black artists in the last few years get nominated and even win at the Grammys in categories such as rock, country, jazz. Shout out to Samara Joy, very talented jazz vocalist, can sing. She is in her 20s. She's from the Bronx like me. She just got 2 Grammy Awards, especially one of them in the Big Four last year. I've seen a rock artist, I think it was Gary Clark Jr., who won 3 Grammys in the rock category, I think in 2020 or maybe 2021, one of those years. And I've seen another Black artist in country music win a Grammy in, I think last year, I think it was last year. But, you know, you like to say we invented these categories, but I have never seen a rock, country, jazz, blues, alternative, new age, indie, etc. category at the BET Awards. We will get all up in arms in agreement with Tyler, the Creator, about how tone deaf the Grammys are for letting him win in the rap category when he stated that Igor, the album that he won Best Rap Album for in, I think, 2019, wasn't really a rap album. But did the BET Network really appreciate him as even a rap artist before this? We will get mad at the Grammys for not giving Beyonce or any other Black artist that we feel is deserving of their award, especially when it comes to the coveted or once prestigious Album of the Year award, and then highlight the need to support the Black award shows, which I find to be very much backhanded and a backhanded compliment. Because we need to stop highlighting or emphasizing the need to support each other and our own platforms and brands when we feel like other races or other platforms that are not owned by us disrespect us. Although Renaissance was a good album and it deserved to win something, it did kind of feel as if the BET Awards and the BET Network gave her Album of the Year to make up for her not winning Album of the Year at the Grammys. Almost as if they were trying to give her an incentive to come back to the award shows to increase their ratings. Same reason with why they nominated Nicki but did not give her a win. There have been Black viewers and commenters who have pointed to BET's ownership by Viacom and it no longer being Black owned as the main reasons to BET's low quality and downgrade. And I have to disagree with this kind of. Although we have seen a correlation between Black brands, platforms, and companies being bought out or owned by white corporations and the decline in the essence that made us fall in love with it, I will not say that Viacom is solely to blame for the decline of the BET Network quality. I feel like sometimes, or most times now, we like to use that as a scapegoat and a crutch, to be honest. Even when Viacom first owned BET and it owns a plethora of different networks, BET still had shows and quality and award shows that did well, and it was still better representation of us as a people and a culture. From what I understand, although Viacom is the parent company, BET is a subsidiary and runs like its own entity. So I'm not saying that Viacom doesn't have its hand in the pot creatively, but BET's execs, creative directors, etc. just do not know what they're doing, in my opinion. Now, last year, it was reported that Tyler Perry recently bought BET and he also bought VH1, but that has now been debunked because the deal fell through, and according to him, they wanted too much money out of him and they were, I guess, trying to finesse him. This is what the narrative is being said. But, however, even if it was true and Tyler Perry did own the network, I am glad to see BET Black owned again, yes, and it's cool to see VH1 owned by a black person for the first time and be black owned for the first time. But in this case, I'm not really impressed if Tyler Perry owns it, especially if I don't see actual changes in the quality and the overall creative direction of the network. This includes the award shows, the music promotion, proper representation of our people and our culture, diversity in that representation. We can't just keep showing rap and hip hop and or R&B all day, which honestly, the R&B is definitely more prominent and better at the Soul Train Awards, and the rap and the hip hop that's being shown at the BET Awards is definitely low quality, lackluster, and just promotion of ratchet culture. And I'm just tired of seeing it. And the good ones often don't get showed. And sometimes I guarantee the best music that I'm hearing, R&B, hip hop, jazz, rock, funk, whatever it is, that's really being done in indie or underground spaces. And with Tyler Perry owning owning the network, if Tyler Perry were to own the network, with the quality and the content that he's already put out on BET, I would not trust him owning the network, because it may just be the same thing. The same bad, dragged out storylines, the same struggle of narratives that he puts with black women, the same low quality production, the same bad wigs, the same, same old stuff. It's not going to change just because it's black owned. And I've always felt that black owned or not, if we don't actually make steps to change things and actually show diversity and actually show better quality and push that to the forefront of our image and our culture, it's not going to make sense if Tyler Perry owns it or not. It's not going to change anything if Tyler Perry owns it or not, which is why I'm not really impressed if Tyler Perry were to own this. I'm not that hyped over it being black owned that we're just going to put, just the new face involved, a black face at the front, but at the same time, the quality and the product is still the same. It makes no sense. And for the most part, I really do think that we have outgrown the same old. All in all, I am not getting on here to single out BET, and I would say for the most part, award shows in general are losing their luster, and viewership and ratings have been steadily declining in the last decade. But BET is just another one that goes along with it. And I do think that if other award shows are going downhill and they're declining in ratings, in viewership, in commentary, where people criticize everything, I definitely am not trying to single BET out with that. But if everyone else is suffering, then BET is definitely suffering the worst, because it is a niche channel and a niche platform with niche content that caters to a niche audience and a niche audience within a niche audience. But all in all, I just think we as a community need to do better when it comes to our platforms and our representation and what we allow to be seen as us, if you catch my drift. So yes, that's all I had to say. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.